we're driving around the streets of Long Beach, California. This week we've headed across the Pacific, down under, to head on over to Phillip Island for this week 9 of the World GT Championship here on RaceSpotTV. My name is Paul Smith. Alongside me, back once again on commentary, is Peter Mackay. Congratulations on your marriage and your honeymoon, but you know, you were missing us really, weren't you?
More than you know, Paul. Definitely. It really was. It's a real pleasure to be back with you in the hot seat and at the real pointy end of the championship as well. Really excited to see how this comes off at Phillip Island today. It's one of my favourite circuits in the world on 2 wheels and might as well be on 4 wheels as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a tremendous couple of races last time out at Long Beach, as I mentioned, in our 2 40-minute feature races. Tonight, it's 3 20-minute sprint races, and there's plenty on the line here as we head into, as you say, the business end of the season.
Yes, a lot on the line, and Phillip Island is a circuit that can really throw up controversy and can throw up unexpected scenarios, as well as a number of points of the circuit where if you just get it slightly wrong, you can kind of turn yourself into a car-shaped bowling ball, as we've seen several times, particularly coming out of Stoner Corner down into the hairpin. Got to watch out for that tonight. Sprint races, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I've bad memories of this track from the touring car series earlier on this season. But anyway, we are at Phillip Island for this sprint round. We've got a week off next week before we then head back to Europe for the final phase of the championship. Spa-Francorchamps, Silverstone, and then we finish off around the Grand Prix layout of the Nürburgring on November the 7th. Who will be champion? Well, in each one of the classes, it is really, really close. Just 19 points separate the two Pure Sims Esports drivers, Ross McFarlane and Alex Davidson, with Jack Sedgwick moving up into 3rd place in that next racing car. Alex Gall, not the best of times last time out at Long Beach. He is in 4th place ahead of James Armstrong. The rest of your pro field, Mark Fletcher, Michael Evdoka, Yannis Albert, Jared Caroni, who had a night to forget, and Tom Dadswell in 10th place. In your Pro-Am, I mean, this is even closer here. Chris van der Ness in Evo SR leads his teammate of Mark Hutchinson, your current Pro-Am champion, by, look at that, 14 points. 2 points behind them for Century and Sim Esports is Andy Archer, with Paul Webster a further 5 points behind him for the Full Tilt V Motorsports car. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Jensen Adriansons with Michael Gray, Rich Simner, Ethan Critchley, Phil Samways and Tim Perry rounding out the top 10 of Pro-Am. 21 points just covering the top 4 in Pro-Am. In Am, again, another really close championship. Jesse Payne Wilkins for Full Tilt Sim Sports, of course, changing teams. He is leading that championship by 14 points ahead of James Osborne. And it's Martin de Jong who went into last week's round in the lead of that championship. He drops down to 3rd place ahead of Paddy Faulkner, with Adam Hedgecock, Crawford, Lars van Rijn, Jim Whitehouse, Ed May and Gilmore rounding out the top 10. The endurance standings, well, the next round is going to be an endurance round. Ross McFarlane has got a good, comfortable lead over Ethan Critchley in that, with Jesse Payne Wilkins in 3rd place. Then your team's championship, well, Pure Sims, they have got an absolute stranglehold over the pro standings. Look at that, 648 points is the gap between them and Altitude Esports. Miranda's Satellite E-Stars drop down a place into 3rd place. Then you get your first two Pro-Ams. Evo SR are comfortably in the lead of that one. Full Tilt V Motorsport and Brabham Esports 5th and 6th places. Then it's the rest of your Pro-Am, Century Sim Esports, DCW Racing, Century Sim Racing and Boosted Virage. So those are your championship standings, Peter. I mean, how on earth do we focus on a Drivers' Championship when all of them are in the teens in separation?
Oh, that's just the World GT Championship for you, isn't it? Just storylines up and down the grid. I mean, one thing that astounds me is just how well Pure Sims have had this season. That their lead in the teams championship is just colossal. I mean, that certainly helps having two drivers fighting for the drivers championship, but it's going to be fascinating as well, I think, Paul, to see how the inter-team dynamics play out, not just at the top in the pro class with, as we mentioned, Ross McFarlane and Alex Davidson, but the Pro-Am, Evo SR, they've been so good in that class. Mark Hutchison, of course, the defending champion, but what's the team dynamic going to be? What has practice been like? What is the little bit of banter going on in the team room? That's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out, and as we head towards the end of the season.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that really stood out to me is that Ross McFarlane and Alex Davidson, between them, have 9 wins. McFarlane has 2 endurance wins compared to Alex's 1, but 5 wins for Ross and 4 wins for Alex Davidson. Davidson, though, getting a double last week, that was huge for him to come through the field at Long Beach.
That's massive, yeah, and that's what a drive to be able to do that as well at a place like Long Beach, where overtaking is so, it's not just difficult, it's just downright risky. If you go for a move there, it can go wrong so quickly. So that is a big punch in the championship fight. Here will be a bit different. There's quite a lot of quite creative places where you can get a move done, but yeah, not without its risk either.
Well, let's take you through your starting grid. We've got a nice, long, full pace lap, so I'm not having to rush my way through the grid like I usually have to. So we'll have a look at the grid then. It is Josh Thompson, who's changed to a Porsche for the Team Red Line car. He takes pole position here. Alongside him, sharing the front row, is Ross McFarlane for Pure Sims Esports. Alex Gall, a good qualification for him in his Porsche. 3rd place. Alongside him, Alex Davidson in 4th place. Michael Evdoka and Jared Karoni share row number 3. And the first year Brabham Esports cars, Yanis Olbert is on row number 4, sharing that duty with Jack Sedgwick. Then Chris van der Nest, the top of your Pro-Am drivers, 9th place in qualifying. Alongside him, get this, Ed May, an Am driver for Three Spires Motorsport, getting himself into the top 10. Brilliant qualifying from Ed, and that could be a promising night for him in terms of championship points. Andy Shield and Tom Dadswell then share the next row of the grid in row 6. Row 7, James Armstrong in that second Brabham Esports car. Alongside him is Century Sim Esports driver and Andy Archer. Then Ethan Critchley and Michael Gray share row number 8. Row 9 is Paul Webster and Pete Harrod. Paul, by the way, has said to me when I was speaking to him in the virtual paddock that he's ready for war tonight. He really is. Did not enjoy last week, and he wants to get points. Phil Samways, Mark Fletcher share row number 10 with Jack Osborne and Tom Brown on row number 11. Row 12 for Andy Gilmore and Timothy van der Broek. Lee Berridge and Ben Gregory then, of course, another one who switched to the Porsche this season in 26, ahead of Martin de Jong and Jim Whitehouse. Kevin Kittleman and Paul Crawford round out row number 15. 16th row of the grid for Mark Woodhouse. Alongside him is another Mark Hutchinson. That isn't a promising qualifying for him, down in 32nd. Jesse Payne Wilkins and Adam Hedgecock then on the next row of the grid with Lars van Rijn and Patrick Faulkner. And then the final few rows of the grid, we've got Jensen Adriansons in 37th. Alongside him is Ashley Finch. Adam Watson with a penalty, starting on row number 20 with Jeroen Kaiser. Ryan Sohn and Jack Belton, the 2 Penguin RC simulation drivers, starting right at the back. Well, Peter, we're just getting into Honda Corner, so we've got plenty of time to look at this track. I mean, you've called it. It's got places aplenty to make some moves, but Honda is one of the favourites, isn't it?
It is, but you have to set it up all the way through the southern loop, through Stoner, and put yourself in exactly the right position. But you need a little bit of cooperation from the car you're overtaking as well. They have to see you coming, because if not, it can end up in a pile-up. So yeah, the really popular place to try and make a move, but you've got to get it just right through the previous 2 corners to get that one set up as well. Down into turn 1, down into Doohan is a very popular place as well, and you can hang it around the outside there and be ready for the southern loop as well. So a lot of action early in the lap here at Phillip Island, particularly on these bunch starts too.
up over Loki Heights and then plunge downhill into turn 10 MG. That is another key overtaking opportunity, but it's the run out of this left-hander through the penultimate corner and round the final corner is what sets you up down the start and finish straight. But speaking of that, that's iRacing Porsche will peel off to driver's left, and now we're in the hands of Josh Thompson to get the launch. When will he go? He's going to be patient. Now he's going, he's dropped the throttle, and he is away. He's got a great jump there on Ross McFarlane. The green flag comes right at the end, at the start line, but the green flag is out. We're underway here for the first of 3 races in the World GT Championship. Down into turn 1, a perfect start from Josh Thompson, and then he's got a plethora of the Pure Sims eSports cars and a big incident. Oh, that is Ed May. After such a good qualification, he's off, he's around.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Ed May, such a shame after, as we said, a repeat of his opening round of the season performance, and we have a safety car, unsurprisingly, a huge pile up there for the sort of sort of top 10 and back the way, just a massive pile up.
It was pretty much track blocked around there, and there is some significant damage. There's the pace car. You would have thought that last week we would have had safety cars, but we didn't. Yet here tonight, you get one straight away. But it's that man who started in 10th place, Ed May, 5th row of the grid. We'll have to look at some replays of that because, I don't know what's happened there. All I saw was just tyre smoke and a car spun around. Here we go, Peter.
Well, let's try and get a look at it. So, yeah, it gets into the side of one of the Altitude Esports BMW, and that the most kicks off the big one. That's Talladega style. Oh, and then there's just nowhere to go. I think that's Lee Berridge who hit basically straight into the boosted BMW of Ed May. Now, for these drivers who have been able to keep going despite the damage, they have, of course, got their fast repair. And I actually think, Paul, they'll be able to come in, get their fast repair, and stay on the lead lap. So, as the safety car has been a massive stroke of luck after a big dose of bad luck. So it's the swings and roundabouts, really, as they've got a few cars already in pit lane who are taking the automatic toll.
I think a few people would prefer not to get involved in an incident at all. If
true.
we're honest.
Yes, true. But all is not lost was my point.
And it's still an opportunity to get yourself some points as well, isn't it? It is that chance to do that. And then you quite rightly mentioned there is cars on pit road at the moment. Ashley Finch didn't actually take the race start at all, so he's not taken the start in this race. So we only started with 41 cars, and we've got the field working the way through. So it was. Now it's a question of through turn 1 at Doohan, such a tricky corner to go too wide through, especially on cold tyres. Was there a little bit of a squeeze from either one of them? I mean, we couldn't really tell from that initial look on the replay, but it just kick-started a chain reaction, did that, and it was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of a little bit of a enigma here at Phillip Island because the circuit has a lot of runoff. However, the actual tarmac is quite narrow. So, as we'll see here, this will give us an idea. Riding on board with Paul Crawford, it is only a few lanes wide, and just where do you go? Trying to slow the car down, and it's just impossible to really get any other way around there. But yes, I mean, so difficult in that early race situation as well. For that peripheral vision is really difficult because some drivers will run with a virtual reality headset. That's brilliant for the peripheral vision. Some drivers run with a triple screen setup. Many others have single, so it's very hard to keep your periphery in. Now the 137 car there got up over the curb, and that sort of shot them left a little bit. Actually, it seemed there.
It's quite sort of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to do that too wide through there, and they did try and give themselves space. So it's unfortunately one of those things. I don't think it's really sort of overly one person's fault, but
No.
we've got a few heading down to pit road to get the fast repair, because in a pace car situation, the first lap, the pit lane is closed, so people didn't want to get an end-of-line penalty. Now they're getting their fast repairs. That is, as you say, real plus point of the series. And look at the cars streaming onto pit road.
Yes, that's they effectively come out with a brand new spare car and easily make it to the tail of the field as well. So Lee Berridge, now what's happened to Lee? He's already now
that was after the incident. That was after that initial incident.
I don't know which car was that clipped him, but in a situation like that, you're going.
Well, I think it was one of the boosted Virage cars as well, which is a stablemate. Okay, maybe
I was about to say running out the same awning. That's a bit awkward. But yeah, that was Tom. Just coming back to that incident with Ed May, that was Tom Dadswell, who appeared to get up over the curb, and that just lost him that little bit of control and put him into the side of Ed May. That was certainly how it appeared on the face of it anyway. But coming back to the restart, this is going to be interesting because Josh Thompson will control us. The lights are off on the pace car, so we'll go green in a moment, but he's got 1, 2, 3 menacing Pure Sims Mercedes right behind him. But having been over 3/10 quicker in qualifying, he must be feeling very confident as the young Manxman, I would imagine.
The slipstream is so strong around this track. That's the key thing. If you can keep in that slipstream, it is so strong, especially down towards Turn 1 and then around after the southern loop in towards Honda. Those two places are the main slipstreaming places. But you're absolutely right to mention that the Pure Sims team, they've got the three of them, second, third and fourth. Alex Gall dropped 2 places on the start of that race. Michael Gray is a big winner out of this one, plus 6 places. Phil Samway's up 8 places. Paul Crawford 12. Adam Watson, after starting at the back of the grid, 17 places gained through all of that shenanigans. But Josh Thompson leading us around. Single file restart, so we're not going 2 by 2. And we're getting ready for this one. Again, the pace car will peel off to driver's left. Josh Thompson once again. Now he's done it once and got a great launch, but the other drivers will be aware of that. Ross McFarlane won't be letting that. Yeah, he's backing them right up. Now he goes, and it's again on corner exit. He knows that Porsche doesn't have the overall top speed of these cars, but look at the 2 championship rivals. Ross McFarlane, Alex Davidson, absolutely neck and neck, almost touching door mirrors down towards turn number 1. Ashley Sutton, who was racing the British touring cars yesterday, will be watching this through his hands in that one, I think, because he doesn't want to see his team wipe each other out.
Oh, more problems for the boosted team. That's Ben Gregory and the Porsche. Oh, more. Oh, dearie me, the number 71, Timothy van der Broek in his BMW, with a silent H on the side of the.
Look at that dive and contact! Oh, that was ambitious from, I believe it was Jared Caroni, it was.
Caroni.
And it's Michael Evdoka who's the innocent party there. I think Caroni missed his braking point going into there, and he just threw it to the inside, hoping that there'd be space there. And the problem for these two is that they have to, as one of the Penguin RC simulation cars, as Brian Sohn has taken to the grass as well. There's a Team Mad car drop back in all of that as well, so shenanigans happening even on the restart, as well as we go diving down the inside for Jack Sedgwick into the hairpin. He's making some moves forward in this race as well, up to 6th place now, but it's absolute carnage and chaos here. But look at the gap now between Alex Davidson and Alex Gall. That's what happens when you have an incident. It separates people out.
It does, and let's get a look at it then. So, Caroni just misses the. I mean, he nearly gets it stopped. I don't know what he's flashing his lights for, to be honest, but that was a big move, big late move. I mean, he almost got it stopped for the apex, but yeah, I just don't think there was the room there. It was definitely over ambitious at that stage. Great move from Jack Sedgwick as well through Lukey Heights. That's the Valentino Rossi move, up on the shoulder and then down the inside. at MG, and that was interesting. The driver he passed was Chris Van Den Ness, who leads in the Pro-Am class. He didn't fight it too hard. Very smart there from Van Den Ness, knowing that Cedric is not a Pro-Am driver. He's not in competition with him. Didn't fight it too hard and kept the momentum up. So very smart driving there from Van Den Ness.
And Cedric makes it past Yannis Albert as well, the Brabham Esports driver.
Charging.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Charging is the correct word in that one. He is on a mission here to try and move forward, but he's got a gap now of about a second and a half, 2 seconds between him and Alex Gall. Gall himself has got a gap forward as well to Alex Davidson. Your top three, Josh Thompson is leading by 1.1 seconds. That Porsche's working well around here. Ross McFarlane, Alex Davidson second and third. As we'll look on board then with the Brabham Esports driver of Yannis Albert. Good down the start and finish straight. New fastest lap for Josh Thompson as well. He's pumping in the laps. He wants to break away at the front. Yannis Albert, he's just looking at Jack Cedric's car. And meanwhile, we've got one of the full tilt V Motorsports cars. That's Paul Webster. After a terrible week last week at Long Beach, as I say, he said he was ready to go to war this week. He is no punches being pulled this week.
Oh, but he's got big attention here from one of the Porsches there. That's all. Is it no? In the Autosport car, it's Tom Brown. Whoa. Tom's never shy of, he's never backwards and coming forwards, as they say. That was really tough there, door handle to door handle. And as you say, Paul, Far Fletcher, he was not one to give that one up easy as well. I have to say, these full tilt Audis look fantastic. They remind me of the Valvoline liveried Audis from Bathurst a couple of years ago. Looks really cool.
Now, I've always preferred the blue Valvoline livery rather than the red one. That's just a personal preference because it reminds me of the old Ford touring cars from the mid-90s. As we go around the back end of the course, around the final corner once again, there's Van Der Ness then leading three other Pro-Ams behind him. So it's Pro-Ams 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. Jack Osborne, your leading Am in 13th place. So it's a real mixed up field after the top 10, so which is always good to see. And we say somebody in Am can pull off a really good week. It puts them well into championship standings. Says that Brabham Esports car, the iconic livery of Brabham Esports for that dark, the green and gold of Australia.
It looks superb. Oh, it's Tom Brown's. Okay, Kittelman off in the Porsche. And it just shows you, as soon as you get onto that grass, it's so difficult to get back going again. Kittelman, he's on the... He's enjoying... Oh, no, now finally gets his way back onto the circuit. Being nice and careful rejoin. He earns the Connery Maddock Award for best rejoin so far.
Yes, Connery will be very approving of that rejoin. The problem for him, of course, is that he's lost so many places. Here's what happened. Oh, that BMW got unsettled right in front of him. There's contact. And the problem with this runoff here is it's cambered away from the corner and it's impossible to get back on track. I think it was a little touch.
Yeah, there was.
I think that's what...
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Kevin Kittelman, just the tiniest touch to the quarter panel there, and that was enough to loosen up the BMW there. So, now it's Altitude Esports 1-on-1 here. That's series photographer Adam Hedgecock in the Ferrari. And is that Dadswell in front of him, making moves after an eventful first lap, to say the least?
Ed May's back on pit road. Not gone well for Ed, so he
no more spare cars.
He's got a drive-through penalty is what he's got. So he's got... It's when it rains, it pours in Australia. I learnt that one out the hard way. Being in the centre of Melbourne in the middle of a thunderstorm with no raincoat, I can trust you, it pours in when it rains. But yeah, Ed May having an absolute nightmare of this opening race. But of course, there's always the spinny wheel. The reverse grid draw could well work in his favour.
He's going to need a big one. He's going to need a big one to take advantage of that. Such a shame after such a strong qualifying. But he's been given, I presume, Paul, his drive-through penalties for accrual of incident points.
Yeah.
Which to accrue 17 incident points in 14 minutes and given that 5 of them were under the pace car, that's almost as impressive as his qualifying lap to rack up incident points.
It's 16 for this series in the sprint races, and yeah,
still significant.
But you think with how many cars he bounced off of at the start of the race, that's probably a good handful there accumulated. Here we get another look on board. This is on board with Paddy Faulkner, 5th place in AM right now. Currently, currently finds himself 22nd overall. He's gained 14 places through all these various incidents. And another one of our drivers giving us that unique insight on his BMW on board. Go around the corner in front of him. He's got a front row seat of Adam Hedgecock and Jensen Adriansons duking it out as it go around the left-hander here at Stoner. Again, another iconic name. You look at those couple of names as there goes down the inside the move for position. So Adam Hedgecock losing that place to Jensen. But you look at Doohan, Stoner, you know, just 2 of the many icons that have raced around here.
Well, of course, going off the Gardner straight as well. Wayne Gardner, 1987 500cc motorcycle champion. Yeah, it's a cool place, and yeah, the Stoner Corner is very aptly named. Casey, when he went through there, he was just incredible. 6 times a winner here at Port Phillip Island in a row. And Hedgecock's. We'll get a live reaction here from Lord Hedge, but he's a very mild-mannered man. He's still smiling. Still, I like how we've got more fish tank in the background as well.
Yes, we have got more aquarium camera. But Adam, far from ideal. The curse of the RaceSpotTV camera getting pointed at you and having an incident happen. But there you go. Live reaction. Thankfully, no hand signals being given as we carries on. He's going for first, but not this time. As down the inside. Oh, that's a bit of a lunge. Oh, is that Ethan Critchley that got down the inside of him? I think it was.
Hard to say. It was definitely one of the Century Sim Racing cars anyway. But yeah, 3. You can maybe get 2 cars down there, but 3 is going to be a squeeze. That's a shame for Hedge, but it just shows you how mild-mannered he is. That even then he's been nerfed off the circuit and he's still smiling. He's still having fun.
I think it's because he realises that we've got the camera pointed at him.
That also.
There would be, if that was me, there would be many hands waved about and gesticulations. As we've seen a tremendous little fight here. Then this is Michael Gray. He's got Tom Brown in front of him. So Brown's managed to work his way past Gray and Webster up into 10th place, but that's allowed Chris van der Nest just to gap out these 2. So van der Nest still leads that Pro-Am race here with 3 minutes remaining in this one. Jack Osborne in 13th place, your top placed AM driver after the bit of a mare that Ed May had started in turn 1, lap 1. It's worth pointing out as well, your race leader, the reason why we're not showing him is 3.2 seconds clear of Ross McFarlane.
Josh Thompson has just been on another level. His fastest lap of the race is 0.4 of a second quicker than McFarlane's best. I mean, this sort of domination we actually haven't seen since Luke McEwen was in the series last season. And yeah, Josh, that switch to the Porsche. I mean, he's been he was with the BMW for so long, and he appeared just to be getting so frustrating with it, and he's just absolutely invigorated at the wheel of that Weissach machine.
We carry on looking in our field here, so working their way out of Siberia was Andy Scheel in 16th place, with Tom Dadswell behind him. James Whitehouse having a good round, up in 18th place ahead of Jesse Payne-Wilkins. Payne-Wilkins, he wants a good result here today to try and keep that gap at the front of the field. Remember, just 14 points separating him and Jack Osborne. The problem for Jesse, of course, is that Jack Osborne is up there in 13th place, gaining even more points over him. Look at this, though. Now, Ross McFarlane, Alex Davidson, different lines through the Southern Loop. Davidson could get a great run out of there through Stoner.
Yes, he can, and this matters. This really, really matters for Davidson in his championship charge against his teammate Ross McFarlane, and he's going to try to go right around the outside here at Honda, but McFarlane gives him the room, but immediately shuts the door as they head up towards Siberia, the sort of cambered left-hander, and then the run up towards the hay shed, a kind of flip-flop through here, and then up towards Lukey Heights, named after Len Lukey, who was the owner of the circuit from 1962 to 1978.
As we go through that sweeping left-hander uphill, and as soon as you get over that brow, onto the brakes, McFarlane's having to go very defensive here. He knows that every point matters in this championship, even if it is your teammate that you're racing against. Josh Thompson will be able to start one final lap. The clock won't reach 0, so that means we get one more lap of Davidson versus McFarlane. Now, has Davidson waited for this lap? He's looking to the inside in towards Doohan. Can he get the move done? Does Ross back out of it? No, he doesn't. He hangs it round the outside. It's cambered in his favour into turn 2, the southern loop. And again, Davidson not able to make the move, but he can get the cutback, get the slipstream through Stoner in towards Honda corner. And these two, don't forget, they're both teammates, yes, but they're both fighting for the Pro Championship. Alex Davidson to the outside. Ross McFarlane, though, holds it on the inside, keeps the place for the time being as they're heading into Siberia. This isn't really an overtaking spot, but it can set you up through the hay shed, through Lukey Heights. Get your line right, get the nice run, and get a move done into MG. That's what Alex Davidson is thinking right now. Into the sweeping left-hander, uphill through Lukey Heights. Onto the brakes. Ross, he holds the inside line. The car's moving about quite a bit, but he's got nowhere to go as Davidson. Through the left-hander, he's only got one more corner, but he can do it to the line. Meanwhile, at the front of your field, Josh Thompson, all on his own. He's there for a Monday evening drive. Not even a smile on his face. That's a win for Josh. Who's going to finish second? It's going to be Ross McFarlane to the line. It is. But Alex Davidson, he is showing his intent here in that Pro Championship. Chris van der Nest, is he going to hang on to 9th place in the race? The answer is yes. He was going for 8th, in fact. Doesn't quite get it, but does get a Pro-Am win out of that one. And Jack Osborne, he's coming across. He's got the AM race win here in 15th, so does lose a couple of positions at the end there. But my goodness, Peter, if that's what we've got to look forward to for the rest of this championship between your two pro protagonists, that is going to be one heck of a fight. But a little tip of the hat to Josh Thompson, so dominant at the top.
That was just imperious there from Josh Thompson. Superb. Great we know how fast he is. We've seen it for so long, but it just, in the last season or two in World GT, it just hasn't all quite clicked. That click there, that was absolutely superb there from the Manx driver. Really imperious. And, you know, at the beginning of the season, the Porsche seemed all at sea, but the mid-season balance of performance change appears to be helping as well. I mean, the pace just superb here. And of course, straight line speed not as critical at Phillip Island. It's all about that corner speed, and the Porsche looking really good in the hands there of Josh Thompson. But I tell you, what about that last lap, Paul, with McFarlane and Davidson? McFarlane really took a big risk there going around the outside at Doohan.
It was a big risk, and what is going to be that reverse grid? We miss out 33. Will we go all the way through 20, or will it stop? Oh my goodness, it's going to be 29 is this one. That is quite a big reverse grid. We've got 42. 41 took the flag at the start of the race, so 29th is going to be your reverse grid pole. So we'll have a look at that in just a moment, but first let's go through your results of race number 1 of the evening, and it was a 4.5 second win for Josh Thompson for Team Redline in his Porsche over the two Pure Sims Esports drivers of Ross McFarlane and Alex Davidson. Less than a tenth of a second between the two of those across the line. Alex Gall in 4th place, had to sit back and watch those two go at it. Jack Sedgwick in 5th place ahead of James Armstrong. Matt Fletcher and Yannis Albert ran out the top 8. Chris van der Ness for Evo SR is your top Pro-Am, ahead of Tom Brown for Indy Autosport Red. Second place in Pro-Am with Michael Gray for Full Tilt V Motorsport. Third place in Pro-Am and 11th place overall. Pete Harrod for Century Sim Racing in 12th, ahead of Paul Webster and Mark Hutchinson. Jack Osborne for Century Sim Racing is your top AM driver in 15th place overall, ahead of Andy Shield and Tom Dadswell. Jim Whitehouse, second place in AM for Century Sim Racing. That makes it a nice 1-2 for Century Sim Racing in AM, with Jesse Payne Wilkins in 19th place. Third place in AM for Full Tilt Sim Sport. Jensen Adriansons rounds out your top 20. 21st for Michael Evdurka on the recovery after that contact down at the hairpin. Ethan Critchley 22nd, ahead of Adam Watson, Martin de Jong, Lee Berridge, Patrick Faulkner, Lars Van Ryan, Paul Crawford, and starting on pole position for race number 2, Timothy van der Broek for the Angry Sheep Sims. Jeroen Kaiser just missing out on that one in 30th place. Ben Gregory 31st after his trip across the grass. Matt Woodhouse, Phil Samways, Andy Gilmore, Adam Hedgecock, Ed May, Jack Belton, Jared Caroni does finish on the lead lap after that incident with Michael Evdurka, Brian Sohn and Andy Archer. And the final driver who did take the start, Kevin Kittleman, finishing the 5 laps down. And as I said, Ashley Finch did not take the start. Well, where do we start on that one? Where do we start breaking that one down? Because that was simply, after we got the shenanigans out of the way at the start, it was really good racing from there on in, the last 10 minutes especially.
It was, yeah. There was quite a heavy attrition rate at the beginning, as you mentioned, definitely. But yeah, that battle between the two Pure Sims aces, McFarlane and Davidson, fantastic. McFarlane, like you say, if that could have gone, you have to really trust to the person on your inside there to tough it out around the outside. But it's risk reward, and that's kind of what Phillip Island's all about. You know, your risk reward, you're really taking a big risk by going around the outside into that right hander, but then you've got the benefit of having that juicy inside for the southern loop, you know, and that really paid off. And actually, that was the pivotal corner, I think, in that battle, because then McFarlane could defend and keep Davidson behind him, come what may.
It wasn't for the lack of trying, though, that's for sure. But what that does mean is that Josh Thompson, Ross McFarlane, Alex Davidson have all got to start from pretty much the back half of the grid, almost towards the back quarter of the grid, in fact, here tonight. You can make overtakes around here, absolutely, but it's not going to be the easiest of days around here for those guys in that big reverse grid.
No, definitely not. That's a good point. It's and look what happened in the first race. That pile up, it was basically that back part of the grid that really suffered in that case. And yeah, the further back you are, the more likely you are to be involved in something like that. So we saw in Imola, Josh Thompson playing that very, very well by being really conservative, letting it kind of the chaos ensue in front and then nipping through. That's not going to be as easy to do in this case, but you know, we've seen him be very good in those situations in the past. A little bit of roulette going into this second race, I think, for those top drivers. And at this point in the championship, where every point counts, the nerves must be jangling, I would imagine, for those podium finishers from race 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't go anywhere, folks. We've got another 2 races of action to look forward to. So if you thought that was exciting, well, wait until you see the next 2 races with the reverse grids. That's going to be something else. Worth pointing out then, Chris van der Ness did finish 9th in that race, top Pro-Am. In terms of the championship, though, that has helped him out a little bit. That'll just eke out that lead at the top of Pro-Am, because Mark Hutchinson, who was the next closest for him, finished in 14th place. So 5 places difference between the 2 of them there. It's little things like that where you get a little bit of a gap between you and your next rival in a championship. That's where you start sort of thinking that long game of, right, let's get some good points here.
Yeah, but the ball's now back into Mark Hutchison's court, because he's going to start 5 places further up. So this is his opportunity to get away in the front group, get away and hope that his... well, that's the thing. Does he hope that his teammate hits trouble? Probably publicly he wouldn't admit, no, we're a team, we all want each other to do well. nonsense when you're in a championship fight. But no, I think this is an opportunity for Mark Hutchison. He's got to take that chance where he is now.
Ed May saying, Peter, that you're a bad luck charm. Every time that you've been in, never had a good result with you in the commentary booth since round one, is what Ed's saying. He had a good result in round one when you were here, so
he has great qualifying. He always has great qualifying when I'm around.
So that's what's happened in your Pro-Am. In your Am, really good result for Jack Osborne in terms of his championship fight with Jesse Payne Wilkins. Again, that's what 4 places between those two as well. Goes back to your point about Mark Hutchinson. We can roles reverse now for where they're starting in the grid, but it's more in the middle of that pack that has been reversed. So you're more back with the people who've ever been done for drunk and disorderly, haven't you?
Yeah, and you got to be careful for the ensuing difficulties from what that brings. Yeah, really interesting. I mean, will we see another safety car, which of course changes the complexion of the race again? You know, we might well do if there's another clash. I mean, if we get one in race 1, the chances of getting one in race 2 and race 3 are always higher than they are in race 1s when the field's mixed up. So, we'll see. This could be a pivotal race in the outcome of the championship. Actually, really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just waiting for this race, the warm-up to finish before we get back into the action. So as I say, do stick around for this one. This second race then, we've been mentioning, you've got the difficulty of the pro drivers to work their way through this field. Inversely, you've got, starting on pole position, Timothy van den Broek, who is new to the series from last week. He's jumped in. You've got Paul Crawford and Am starting on the front row of the grid. Lars van Rijn and Paddy Faulkner, another 2 Ams starting up there. There's some big points, capabilities and chances out there for a few people, and this is when you've got to take your advantage of those reverse grids.
You do. You don't get these chances very often. You know, with the way that the spinning wheel works, it doesn't always play in your favour. But what that's going to make it particularly arduous for those pro drivers coming through, because the pace of the group is going to bunch more. You know, it's going to be more backed up. You know, because the difference between the kind of AM drivers and the pro drivers, about 1.5 seconds at this circuit per lap, roughly, give or take, depending on which end of the class you're at. But that's quite a difference on a circuit like Phillip Island. So the actual kind of flow of the group can kind of bunch up a little bit as well. So that's something that the drivers coming through are really going to have to be careful of.
I mean, when you think, as you pointed out in that first race, Josh Thompson's fastest lap was 0.4 faster than Ross McFarlane and Alex Davidson, who themselves are no slouchers. So having that difference in pro, let alone between pro and pro-am and pro and am, is going to be huge. And this is where people's experience of these reverse grid races really comes into it. And the experience of learning how to read races and read when there's going to be an incident. You know, how many times do you see an inexperienced driver go head on into an accident, whereas the wily old fox, or somebody who's been around quite a while racing, will just be like, there's going to be an accident here, let's just give some space.
Yeah, that's why Ross McFarlane is a number 1 on the side of the car. That's where he excels. He's always thereabouts on pace, always fast, but his intellect in traffic is what really makes it. And you often see him not making the same progress as his rivals in the first half to 3/4 of a reverse grid race, but it's that last quarter or last third or so of the race, all of a sudden he just, at the line you go, oh, he's gone from 12th to 6th or something like that. Really that last bit is when he really opens it up. He never rushes these maneuvers. I think tonight that we haven't seen a difference in pace at the front that Josh Thompson has for, like I said, since Luke McEwen last season. So Josh has an opportunity, albeit a tricky one, but I do believe that he has the pace underneath that car and himself to do the treble tonight, actually, which is very, very rare. We very rarely see it, but his pace advantage is such that it could be done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure somebody with access to the record books will be able to tell you the last treble, because off the top of my head, I can't actually remember the last treble that there was. There was a double last week for Alex Davidson, but of course that was two 40-minute races with strategic calls coming into play. Ross didn't have the best rounds last time, so he'll be looking for a good round this time out. We are just 2 minutes away from the second race of the evening. We've got three races, three 20-minute races. If you are new to the series, welcome along. I hope you're enjoying this one so far, because the second race will be fireworks. There is no doubt about that. Race 3 will then come along after this next one, again with another inverted grid decided by our spinning wheel. And the series sponsors 3M must absolutely love us doing the spinning wheel, because it gets their logo nicely plastered across the screen there. But for quite right reasons. They're a sponsor who have sported this series now for quite a few seasons, and there's nothing better than having a loyal sponsorship partner for a championship like this.
Yeah, I don't think we can underestimate how much it's appreciated, actually, because, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's virtual or outdoor motorsport. The world does not turn without sponsors. It's as simple. Even like for those who had the good fortune to watch the brilliant British Touring Car Championship finale yesterday, you know, all of these drivers, sponsors is very important to them, and it's the same in the virtual world as well. And actually, speaking of British Touring Cars, Paul, you look at how all the onboard shots, how many drivers at that top level of motorsport here in the UK trust, and the word trust is the key word, trust 3M overalls to keep them safe and to keep them comfortable.
Well, I mean, you've got a three-time champion in Ashley Sutton using them. I mean, you can't really get much better publicity than the champ. I will say, just as a little aside, congratulations to Tom Ingram on winning his first championship yesterday. And a very classy thing in Parc Fermé of Ashley Sutton coming along, took the number one off his car, and he went, "There you go, that's yours." I thought that was a top moment. That.
It was. I thought that was really special, Paul. Yeah, I mean, it's Ash is. Ash is all attack all the time, isn't he? And you know, he might rub some people up the wrong way, but that shows you what the true character is out of the car or with the helmet off. And that was a piece of class, actually. So pleased for Tom. First driver to win in a front wheel drive car since 2016. Gordon Shetton.
Crazy.
I mean, it's been a long time, and great for Accelerate. I believe their first championship as well, and first championship in British touring cars for Hyundai. Brilliant. Really, really cool to see that. And our I can afford, since he's not racing tonight in this series, I can be impartial. My man Rory Butcher having a great end to the season as well.
Yeah, he did. He had a great end to the season. So we're getting ready for the second race of the evening here. So let's take you through your starting grid. And it is, as I said, Timothy van der Broek on pole position in the Angry Sheep Sims car. I'll never get that right, I can tell you that now. DCW Racing's Paul Crawford sharing the front row of the grid with Lars van Rijn, and Paul's teammate Patrick Faulkner started on row number 2. Row 3, Lee Berridge and Martin de Jong, another one of those Angry Sheep Sim cars there in the top 6. Adam Watson and Ethan Critchley, they both share row number 4 with Michael Evdoka. He could be a little bit of a dark horse along with Adam Watson to try and move forward and get a possible race win here. Jensen Adrianton's alongside Michael Evdoka. Jesse Pay Wilkins and Jim Whitehouse round out row number 6, with row 7 shared by Tom Dadswell and Andy Shield. 8th row of the grid is Jack Osborne and Mark Hutchinson, Paul Webster and Pete Harrod on row number 9. 10th row of the grid then, it is Michael Gray and Tom Brown, who was very feisty in that first race. It's interesting to see how he gets along. Chris van der Ness and Jennis Albert sharing then row number 11 with Matt Fletcher and James Armstrong, row number 12. 13th row of the grid for Jack Sedgwick, who was moving forward in that first race. Alongside him is Alex Garlow, who will be looking for a better start to this one. Alex Davidson, Ross McFarlane, they'll continue their Pro Championship fight in 27th and 28th. Row 15, though, is your race 1 winner Josh Thompson, shared with Ben Gregory. Matt Woodhouse and Phil Samways then on row number 16 with Andy Gilmore and Adam Hedgecock. Ed May and Jack Belton then on the next row of the grid. That's Jared Caroni, Brian Sohn, Andy Archer, Kevin Kittleman, and your own Kaiser, starting from the back of the grid. Well then, the pace truck, the Chevy Silverado, is out there. We've gone from the Porsche, so that means that it is an Alex Nella session. Can guarantee you that now, because it's always a Silverado that comes out for that one.
It's got
Peter,
a Porsche engine in it, though.
Yeah, that's true. But very quickly then, race number 2 of the evening, I called out 2 potential winners there, Adam Watson and Michael Evdoka. 7th and 9th on the grid. They've got a tremendous opportunity of getting the win.
Yeah, it's hard to look past Evdoka, I would say. He's so fast and was just really unlucky. He was in that leading group in race 1. He just, nothing he could have done. He just got taken out the running. And Adam Watson, the one thing about Adam Watson is when he's on it, he is just all attack, all excitement. So watch out for that Altitude Esports Audi. The one thing you can guarantee is it will provide entertainment.
Yes, entertainment aplenty from Adam. Of course, won 2 races this season as Adam. Yeah. Michael Evdoka, not a single win to his name this season, so he'll be looking to notch up a W to his name. But we are under starters orders now. Timothy van den Broek is going to take us around in that BMW. It's an all BMW front row of the grid. BMW Mercedes row number 2, and he's going. Away we go then for the start of race number 2 of the evening in the World GT Championship, and we're going to go 4 wide down the start and finish straight. This can only end well, that is for sure, as we're going down there. A little bit of a bump, once, twice, and Adam Watson through the middle of the bus, and he's around, he's in the grass, he's taken one of those angry sheep sim cars with him. Watch the rejoin, hopefully everybody makes it through. Well, it's not a track blockage at turn number 2 this time, so we do carry on with green flag racing, but Adam Watson losing the chance of a lifetime there.
Yeah, just maybe a little bit impatient there, perhaps. Just straight up the middle, missed his braking point and straight through. That's a shame for all the drivers involved there, really. But off at the front they go then, up towards Siberia for the first time. Oh, this 77 car there, Lars van Rijn, nearly touching a wheel on the grass. And as we know, Paul, if you put a wheel on that grass, it is like a skating rink.
Michael Evdoka, look at him, he's moving forward quickly. He's the top pro driver. He's now 4th place in this race. He has gained a ton of places at the start of this one, already 5 positions gained. As we go into MG for the first time, this is another place of potential incident, and hopefully everybody does get through. So far so good, although we have got yellow flags down at MG, but huge. I think they're clear. Yeah, that's Adam Hedgecock.
Again, same corner. MG has not been kind to Adam Hedgecock tonight. That's twice he's been off here. Oh dear, but he gets the Altitude Ferrari back going again. Let's get a look at it and see what happens. And leaves the door open. No. Bowling ball. Oh, is that Woodhouse? Oh.
No, it's Kaiser. You're Kaiser. Got it all
it's the Spearmint
wrong.
Polo wheels.
Yes, Spearmint Polo wheels.
And then he nearly said something wildly inappropriate there.
Let's not forget that one from earlier last year. Anyway, Michael Evdoka moving up through the field. Thank you, Peter. Up into 3rd place. And now he's got just Van den Broek and Lee Berridge in front of him to try and get past. And once he gets past them, there was contact further back. That's Jesse Payne Wilkins. Your AM Championship leader is off at Siberia. There's Jim Whitehouse, is another one of those championship contenders for AM. He's off as well at Siberia. And there's another Century Sim Racing car off the track as well. Who was that? That's the 91 of Jack Osborne.
He looked like he was stuck as well in the ditch there, just on the offside of that corner. Well, Evdoka, he's on the charge though. He is the danger man, and Van den Broek will see that big Mercedes looming in the mirror very, very quickly. Evdoka, of course, around AM drivers, so he should have a bit of a pace advantage, and right enough, he sets the fastest lap of the race. Only briefly as Ethan Critchley pinches it off him. Superb.
Yeah, Ethan Critchley, of course, did get promoted to Pro-Am midway through this season after his exploits at Monza, of course, don't forget. Got presented with his commemorative toilet roll and photograph of the event. As
just in case,
here's a replay
in case it gets
of what
cold
happened.
again.
Yeah, in case it gets cold, absolutely. So that's what happened to Jim Whitehouse, and then that one was separate for Jesse Payne.
Yeah, it seems so. And what this means for our kind of overall... Oh, yeah, just a little bit...
Oh, and that was Osborne.
Right there. Yeah. And, of course, look, there's... Oh.
That was Osborne. So he was the one who made contact initially with Jesse Payne Wilkins. And I'm just getting a notification on my timing screen that Adam Watson's been off yet again. Here it is. My God, he's struggling to keep this car on the track at the moment. Again, at Siberia.
So our race one winner, Josh Thompson, he has had 3 significant incidents happen right in front of him, or certainly in his immediate vicinity, and he's managed to avoid them all just about. But this is what's making it so difficult for our front runners to make their way through cleanly. There's a lot of incidents happening in front of them, and it does look like Thompson is he's using his pace to good effect. He's up to 16th place, and having started behind the 2 Pearson's Mercedes of McFarlane and Davidson, he's actually got past them and put a bit of distance into them too. But this is all very, very tight here as well.
Yeah, this is where you start taking a deep breath when you're working your way through the field like this, because everybody wants to get the best result they can, because they take those points that they finish into their particular championship. Michael Evdoka takes the lead at Honda over Van den Broek. Paul Crawford is dropping down the order pretty fast as well. He must have had an incident. It must be on the exit of Honda, and Crawford is dropping fast down the order. So drama for Paul Crawford, who started up on at the front of the field, front 2 rows of the grid. But Evdoka to the front. Here's what happened to Crawford then. Into Honda. It's a dive from the Century Sim Racing car. Little tap. Around he goes, and then, well, watch the rejoin. Oh.
Whoops. Yeah, and that held up, I think it was Dadswell in the altitude BMW. But, yeah, really. Oh, now we've got one of the full tilt Audis off. That's Michael Gray. Oh, so after a great run in race 1, not so good there for Gray in the Audi. He keeps going, so not enough damage to want to go in. But as we do see one driver go into pit lane there.
Yeah, well, actually, 2 drivers on pit lane. That was Jensen Adriansons that we saw onto pit lane. He just lost it himself. Under braking, did Michael Gray. Heads into the grass. Adam Watson, by the way, drive-through penalty, and Timothy Van der Broek, after starting on pole position, he is dropping down the field. He's in the grass. I have a funny feeling turn 2, the Southern Loop, has taken another victim here.
Seems so. Yeah, it seems so. And yeah, interesting that incident there with Michael Gray. When you come over the hill at Lukey Heights and get on the brakes, of course these cars have ABS, but the ABS can help you, but sometimes hinder you as well. And the ABS maybe didn't quite have the stopping power as. Oh yeah, that's classic Phillip Island turn 1 into turn 2, just carrying too much speed, and yeah, you're a passenger after that. But does he keep it out the wall? Yes.
Yeah,
not
good
bad
stuff.
No, well
good
done.
Stuff. Yeah,
easy to panic there and just turn it into a twirl.
As we go back to live pictures then. So, Michael Evdoka leads this race by a couple of seconds, 2.4 seconds to be exact, ahead of Lee Berridge, the Pro-Am driver, in second place, ahead of Ethan Critchley, another Pro-Am driver looking to the inside, now to the outside of turn number 1. Ethan Critchley, he wants a good result here for his Pro-Am championship. There he is. He's got a Century Sim Racing top on. He is all business here. See that focus, and yeah, you can see he's got all the setup there, Peter. He is certainly looking that one down the inside. That's a late lunge. Will he get it stopped? Lee Berridge looking to the inside. Oh, a little bit of a twitch. That's lost him. That second place to Ethan Critchley.
Yeah, the spiky turbocharged power of the BMW just getting the rear lit up a bit there for Lee Berridge, but he fights on. But this is a super opportunity for Berridge as well to score some huge points in the AM Championship fight. He's leading by quite a distance, Paul.
Josh Thompson, it's worth pointing out, up to 8th place now. Ed May has had another incident out there, and he's dropped down the order once again, down to 33rd now. So Ed is not having a good race, but it's worth pointing that out. Josh Thompson is in 8th place. We've got a car coming on at an angle, and there it goes. Alex Gall, that was flying through the air.
It was one of the Pure Sims Mercedes,
Ross,
so it's got to be Davis. It's McFarlane.
Championship leader in your Pro Championship. Oh my goodness. Well, we said it could be a big round for your championships, and that's going to have huge connotations.
Oh, so you can see just on the left the shot there. Oh, strike. Wow.
Bowling into MG. Not normally what you do with an MG, but look, Alex Gall was making the move, and then all of a sudden, bang, enter stage right.
It can happen. It is so easy to happen there as well, and you can almost see McFarlane giving room to try and avoid it. You can see it in his peripheral vision, saying, "Oh, here comes a BMW-shaped bowling ball," and the thing is, it only requires the smallest mistake from the other driver, and you're just a passenger. It looks so much more clumsy than it actually is. It's just one of the unique points of the circuit.
Ethan Critchley and Lee Berridge are in a world of their own here. They're having their own race here because everybody else has disappeared around them. Michael Evdoka has disappeared up the road at the front, and these two, they're duking it out. They don't want to fight each other too hard, or else that'll allow Tom Dadswell to close up to them, and he's bringing Andy Shield with him as we look on board from Gall.
Oh, horrible. And
at least he's sat on the left-hand side of the car there.
I tell you, this is a superb drive from both Critchley and Berridge, because they both have, well, Critchley's only 0.3 of a second off the best pace of Josh Thompson, and Berridge is only half a second off Josh Thompson's best. So that's remarkable, given that Thompson put it on pole by 0.3 of a second. So that gives an impression. Here's our Pro-Am Championship contender and defending champion Mark Hutchison, and lots of damage there on that Mercedes. Yep.
And he knows it's bad as well straight away. Andy Gilmore's had issues out there, and he's stopped. He's back up and running now. There goes Jack Sedgwick, and that is on Alex Davidson. Davidson's got a perfect opportunity here to try and gain himself some big points over his teammate in Ross McFarlane. So even if he doesn't overtake Sedgwick, don't fight too hard. Work your way forward with Jack to try and get past Paul Webster. The problem is, in front of Paul Webster is James Armstrong and Josh Thompson. Thompson is bringing down the gap to Andy Shield.
Yeah, Davidson's just got to drive his socks off here and just see how many places he can make up. But Sedgwick is a perfect front gunner, actually, because he's had made some great moves and great pace. So let's see what happens then. It's another oh dear.
And that was Crawford again. So Crawford's he's carried on with that car, and he's just lost control through that final corner. And that's one of the problems when you've got a damaged car. You're not going to have the same amount of downforce.
No, because that's a very strange place to go off. So yes, that's good point, Paul. That's the damaged car that's made it a lot more unpredictable or difficult. But Evdoka cruising away at the front of the field by 4 seconds from Ethan Critchley, who does have his lucky toilet roll sitting behind him just in case.
Absolutely, it's for colds. Definitely.
Or if he wins again and gets emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. You can wipe away the tears. Yeah. As we carry on, as we've got another replay now. This is Ben Gregory in that Porsche. The back end's going. It's on. Is that Porsche? But which one of the Angry Sheep Sim cars was that? Couldn't quite tell from that shot, but
He's been rammed by an angry sheep.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, Peter. It's almost like I've got Chaz back in the commentary box with me with the puns as we carry on then. Where's this time flown by? We've got 7 minutes remaining in this one, Peter. Michael Evdoka, again, he's like Josh Thompson in that first race, just out on his own at the front, having a nice Monday evening drive. Meanwhile, Jack Sedgwick pulling a move on Paul Webster down into turn 1. Webster's angry though after last week, but do you know what? I think he backed out of that one a little bit.
Yeah, and Webster's just got to be smart here, and he opens, actually almost gives too much room there, and Davidson said okay, and luckily Webster able to gather it up, but that could have gone a lot worse there with a little bit of side-to-side contact, but keeps going, a little bit of a flash of the lights, but anyway, that's another point for Davidson, and this is a huge opportunity. You've got to take this opportunity with both hands, and where McFarlane's going to be scoring minimal points. He's down in 38th place, so the thing is that he's had to take a pit stop, and that's not going to be close unless we get a full reverse. That's not going to be close enough to get a reverse grid draw, so McFarlane's it's double trouble for him here.
Yeah, that could be one of the key points of this championship. It's all about scoring points. How many times have we seen it, Peter, in this championship, that you don't have to necessarily score the most wins. It's getting those points and getting consistent points week after week. And Ross has just had a little bit of bad luck this season, I do feel. As well as a good drive from Alex Davidson. We can't deny that. He's really come on this season as Alex. Yes, we've got a boosted Virage car going a bit slow there, back up and running, although Phil Samways was taken to the grass.
And there was an Evo SR Mercedes going to the grass there as well. Which one is it? Was it Hutchison? I think it might well have been. No, Van den Ness. Oh, so a tricky race for Van den Ness.
Berridge has had a big issue. That is huge.
It's Davidson.
That is. It's Davidson.
Oh my word.
I mean,
so just when we think the plot is set, it twists again.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my word!
It's like the dear my goodness! It's like the man who kept on stealing topsoil from the next door. The plot thickens as we carry on into Siberia through the left-hander. Alex Davidson then, he does settle himself down, but it's 8th place now. It's not quite going as well as it was going for him. Josh Thompson is up to 3rd place, but with 4 minutes remaining, even as quick as Josh is, he is not catching up 10 seconds to your race leader.
No, barring mistake if Doka's in control. So let's see what happens to Perez then. Just loses it all on his own, and then, poor old, now was that Dadswell? I think it was. So he's carrying damage. Davidson does so well to more or less avoid it. That could have been game over for Davidson there and then, but great reactions. And Patrick Faulkner, unsurprisingly, building up enough points to take a drive-through.
As has Mark Fletcher. No, that's Mark Fletcher.
Oh, sorry, do apologise.
Who's on the drive-through. So 2 of them picking up instant points. That's 3 drivers who have picked up a drive-through in this race. Well, I said it was going to be a bit chaotic the second race, and we've not been disappointed. Somewhat not always good, but I tell you what, the action has been aplenty in this championship. Down the inside, Jared Carone, he's trying to work his way forward, looking for 10th place. Considering that where he finished in race number 1 after his incident, he's up into 10th. 27 places gained for Jared.
Yeah, really, really fantastic stuff there. Great bounce back as well. And Paul Webster in the 888, great run from him in that Pro-Am fast car. He's of course in 2nd because Ethan Critchley is a Pro-Am now. That graphic is incorrect.
Yeah, it shouldn't be blue, it should be orange, but I'm sure that Hugo will work his magic between races to get that corrected. But so it is Michael Avdoka who's leading this race with 2.5 minutes remaining. He's got a 5.5 second lead over Ethan Critchley, who is your top Pro-Am driver. Josh Thompson in 3rd place. There's Michael all on his own, just having a nice Monday evening drive. Josh Thompson 3rd place. I don't think he's going to catch up to Ethan either. He is now on his own in that Team Redline car out there. Now behind him is Andy Scheel and Tom Dadswell. Now those 2 are pretty close together, and that is, let's say that there's a little bit of a gap between them. Then behind them is Jack Sedgwick. Dadswell's going to be carrying that damage from what happened with him and Lee Berridge. Davidson then in 7th place ahead of Paul Webster, who's the second placed Pro-Am driver, 8th place overall. Looking further down, your next best Pro-Am is Tom Brown in 11th. Your best Am driver is all the way down to Lars van Rijn. Lars van Rijn's not had the best of seasons this season after the winning last season's Am Championship. He's in 19th place. As, look to the inside from the Evo SR car. No move being made there. The Lee Berridge shutting the door then on Mark Hutchinson. And next best Am is Jesse Payne Wilkins in 21st, Brian Sun in 22nd place. So Pro-Ams and Ams mixing things up as we go through that penultimate corner, through the final corner, should I say, sorry. We should be on the final lap of this race then as we go across the line. 44 seconds remaining, Peter. It's a case of where do you look in this one, because there's been action everywhere.
Yeah, huge action then. Big controversy. I mean, it can, when you look at Ross McFarlane, he's had a situation like that work in his favour in the past. I mean, the last round of the World Touring Car Series last season, his championship rival suffered a very similar incident, no fault of their own. So it does come and go, the luck comes and goes, and it's just not been Ross McFarlane's night. And yeah, he's going to have to just damage limitation in race 3. Meanwhile, his teammate Alex Davison is going to score good points, as it seems he's in 7th at the moment, and depending what the spinny wheel does, he'll have probably a pretty decent grid position for race 3 as well. So Alex Davison, the ball is very much in his court. He could leave Phillip Island with the championship lead.
Well, the leader of this race, though, Michael Evdoka, he's not won a race this season. Well, we can scratch that one, because he is a race winner in race 2 of this evening in the World GT Championship. Across the line to take the win in second place, and your Pro-Am winner is Ethan Critchley. Crosses the line, gets the result for him. Brilliant result in second place. You've got to look back now to 19th for your top Am driver, Lars van Rijn. And Van Rijn, as I say, season 11 champion. He's a 2-time Am champion after winning in season 8. He's going to come across the line for the Boosted Virage team, and he'll take that result. Really good result for him. Good points in his championship. As I say, it's not been his best season, but he'll be delighted with that. Further down, more scrapping going on. I believe that's Jensen Adrianson's. No, it's not. It's Alex Gall. Yes, it is Jensen Adrianson's. And Alex Gall, as they come through the final corner, Adrianson's, I feel, should have the advantage. Down that start-finish straight to take that 30th place in this one. Absolute nightmare for Jensen. That's down 20 places from where he started. The last couple of cars are going to come across the line, including Pro Championship leader going into this week's action, Ross McFarlane. He'll be ruining that bowling ball in DCW racing colours.
Yes, he will. Nothing he really could have done to avoid it. He tried to avoid it looking at the car coming towards him in the mirror, but just bad luck, and it can happen. Let's see what the reverse grid is going to be. Oh, could be quite a big one, though. Ooh.
So we had 29 in race 1, at the end of race 1. At the end of race 2, we've got a 31 car reverse grid, and there's one person who is delighted about that. I can tell you, after having not the best of evenings. But let's have a look then at your results from race number 2 of this evening. Michael Evdoka in first place for Pure Sims Esports. He wins that one by 6.5 seconds ahead of Ethan Critchley for Century Sim Esports. The Pro-Am driver gets himself second place overall. Josh Thompson, a tremendous drive, 26 places gained. We didn't see much of him throughout that race, but he worked his way forward into third place, a podium for the Team Redline driver. Andy Shield for 3M UK in fourth place, manages to stay ahead of Tom Dadswell. Jack Sedgwick and Alex Davidson, 6th and 7th place ahead of Paul Webster, second place in Pro-Am for Full Tilt V Motorsport. James Armstrong and Jared Caroni. Great drive from Jared to make it through into 10th place. Tom Brown is your third placed Pro-Am driver, finishing 11th for the Indy Autosport Red Team. Lee Berridge, after his incident at turn 2, finishes in 12th place ahead of Mark Hutchinson. Pete Harrod, Chris Van der Ness, Phil Samways, Andy Archer and Timothy Van der Broek. Then top AM driver Lars Van Rijn for Boosted Virage finishes in 19th place, just 1 place ahead of Jesse Payne Wilkins, your AM championship leader, in 20th place. Michael Gray, 21st ahead of Adam Watson and Mark Fletcher. Ed May, despite all his incidents and trials and tribulations tonight, is the third best AM out there for Three Spires Motorsport. Finishes 24th ahead of Ben Gregory, his teammates. Brian Sohn ahead of Yannis Albert, with Martin de Jong. Jack Belton, Yates and Adrianson's in 31st, and on pole position. Well, he was taken out like a wrecking ball, but in race 3, he'll be starting on pole position. Alex Gall from Maradna Satellite E-Stars. He is going to be a good shout for that race win in race number 3. Matt Woodhouse just misses out along with Adam Hedgecock. Jack Osborne, Andy Gilmore. Ross McFarland finishes 36th in the end then, ahead of Jim Whitehouse in 37th. Then 1 lap down, Patrick Faulkner. He does get classified for points there, being 1 lap down, but the others don't. Jeroen Kaiser, Paul Crawford, and one more, Kevin Kittleman, round out your 41 cars that took to the grid here in race number 2. Well, Peter, we promised action aplenty. That's what we got. Not all good action, it must be said, but still, you can never say that the World GT Championship is boring.
No, certainly hasn't been tonight, that's for certain. My goodness me, we, like you say, we promised action. I think it over-delivered too. I mean, where to begin? It's crazy. I mean, you got to feel for poor old Lee Berridge, because he was so far ahead in the AM class. He was, 15, 16 cars ahead of the nearest AM competitor. Just one tiny error cost him so dearly, and cost a number of other drivers quite dearly as well, to avoid him, so...
I mean, we saw earlier in that race an incident for Ross McFarlane, the innocent victim, and all that, along with Alex Gall, getting absolutely just bowled out the way. It was almost a 7-10 split, was that one. But Ross finishing 36th, it then opened the door to Alex Davidson to get a really good result, and he almost ended up being a victim of that Lee Berridge incident.
Yes, he did, and had amazing reactions to avoid it as well. You just saw how quickly he was able to kind of jink round Lee Berridge. I don't know if they made contact. If they did, it was very light, but yeah, it's funny. We see it sometimes, how even a piece of light contact can bend steering and make your life very difficult. So yeah, a one dodge there for Davidson, and that tells the story really as well of how it can just pitch and flow and change the momentum. Of course, McFarlane just pipping Davidson in race 1, just picking up a few extra points, but then race 2, it all just blows up. And this race now is a huge opportunity for Davidson, because he's going to start, whereas he was sort of just outside the top 20, whereas McFarlane's going to have to start more or less at the back. Yeah. So this is huge chance for Davidson to score a chunk of points.
It's worth pointing out Ethan Critchley, another really good drive for him in the Pro-Am Championship, finishing 2nd overall. Josh Thompson, 26 positions gained. It was just not quite a long enough race for him, was it, to be able to get through the field in time. He ends up in 3rd place, but 26 places gained. The driver who got the most positions, though, was Jared Caroni, 27 positions gained, up into 10th place. A really, really good drive, considering it's only his first season in the World GT Championship. He's not used to those drives through the grid. We've seen some tremendous performances out there. We've seen some questionable performances, unfortunately, as well, it must be said. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't call it like I saw it. And this 3rd race then, another big reverse grid. Not big enough for Ross McFarlane's liking. I think he'll definitely putting this down to a drop score, but how much does that weigh on the mind of someone like Ross? Does he just say, right, let's write that one off, let's go into this final race and just do the job that I can do?
The one thing with Ross is he doesn't get flustered easily. He's always so measured, so calm, and whenever we get the chance to speak to him post race, he's always very philosophical, very analytical, never negative really. Not in my experience of speaking to him. So yeah, I think he'll be disappointed of how race 2 finished. Not his fault. And maybe I'm sure he'll take the positive from that, saying, well, it wasn't my fault, it wasn't my mistake, just get on with it. And look at the attrition we've seen in both race 1 and race 2. As long as you avoid those incidents, the sea can sometimes part for you, and you could end up with a whole bag of points. You never know. It's just that, I mean, actually, when you look at Josh Thompson, finishing third is a super drive, because throughout the first few laps, he was always having incidents happening either in front of him or around him, and that was holding up his progress, and that was costing him multiple seconds per lap. And then when he got the pace, he was just imperious again. So we'll see how he gets on here.
Martin de Jong just pointing out that gutted by that start in race 2, no clue it was 4 wide. The iRacing spot is good and will call out a 3 wide, it doesn't call out a 4 wide. I can tell you that from bitter experience. And then he questioned what the Audi was doing in the middle there. I mean, Adam Watson, that's a race of what could have been, and we mentioned, didn't we, that impatience is sometimes something from him. We saw it last week at Long Beach, his impatience with lap traffic causing an incident. Race 2 start, diving for the middle when maybe just back out a little bit, let people have their own instance, and then work your way through. He had the pace.
He did, but it's just not his style. He's very much like the Gilles Villeneuve of World GT, because Adam's just got one speed, and it's absolutely maximum attack. The dial goes up to 100 and it stops at 100 as well. It's on or off, and that sometimes that works. We've seen him win races and pull off some amazing overtaking maneuvers, but that's the other side of it, is in a situation like that where it ended in a pretty clumsy end to his race at the first corner, and a few around as well.
Yeah,
must be said.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just waiting for the final race. 4 minutes until we get the final race of the evening here. Looking forward then, whilst we've got the time here, Peter, the final 3 rounds of the championship. We get a week off next week because you haven't had enough of a break, Peter. So while the rest of us had to work hard on this series, but no, the drivers get a week off. It's a good thing to let the drivers have that break and then recover from that. But the final 3 rounds of the championship, Spa-Francorchamps for an endurance race. I mean, for me, it's one of the best endurance tracks out there. One of. Not the best, it's one of. Then, of course, you head to Silverstone, the ultimate high-speed sort of track in here, the home of British motorsport, they like to call themselves. And then, of course, finishing off at the Nürburgring. Quite a technical track is that one. We've got 2 relatively high-speed cutter tracks and then a really technical one to finish off the season. I mean, what do we see from this last quarter of the season here?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I think that it's going to bring out the best driver for sure. There's a really complex test there, and like you say, the Nürburgring GP circuit, not the Nordschleife, it's the GP circuit. Very, very technical, and there's a lot of pinch points there as well. So we could see drama actually. Turn 1, the really, really tight hairpin. I mean, it's almost like a bent paperclip. It's so tight.
Yeah.
The turn 1, that, and how often do we see ambitious moves on the brakes, and then it's just, it's skittles. So we could see a very dramatic season finale at the Nürburgring. Silverstone is just, well, it's just the driver's dream, isn't it? I think there's recently Porsche chose to launch their new 992 GT3 RS road car, which is very much, it's a road car, but really it's designed for the track, and the big part of that car is how much downforce it has for a road car, and Silverstone's about the best place in the world to demonstrate what downforce can do. Which car will that suit? Well, but judging by the pace at the moment, Phillip Island is a circuit where downforce is really important. So could we see Josh in the Porsche having another great time at Silverstone? I would say we would, actually.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It's that plenty of medium and high-speed corners for that Porsche to take advantage of that. You know, you think of corners like Copse Corner through Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel onto the Hanger Straight, Stowe Corner. I mean, that's a real sort of brake and point the car at the corner and hope that it sticks. You've got some tremendous corners. Even the first two corners on the newer layout through Abbey Chicane, those are pretty high-speed corners there where you need that downforce. So that Porsche could really do well around there. As you can see, drivers getting their final bit of practice here, and track conditions pretty much not changed. It's the cloud that's come over that's kept the track nice and cool for these drivers out there. I mean, it's going to be a case of this championship will be one of the most difficult and hardest fought championships. And I think this is possibly one of the most competitive seasons of this championship we've seen, not just in Pro. Let's not forget, there's Pro-Am and there's Am. Those drivers fighting for those championships, just as competitive.
100%, yeah, absolutely 100%. There is no clear benchmark driver in any of the classes. There are 3 or 4 in each. You know, we've seen. I mean, look at tonight. Josh Thompson's up there. If Doka, they're not okay. They're not necessarily in the fight for the championship, but between Ross McFarlane and Alex Davison, impossible to tell them apart. And then in the Pro-Am, Van Den Ness, Hutchison, etc. It's fantastic, and you do not want to miss any of the action for coming to the end of the season. And I do think the Nürburgring, it will be drama packed. You can put a good wager on that.
Certainly could, but we're getting ourselves prepared for the final race of the evening. Again, another full pace lap for these drivers to get themselves around. So let's take a look at your grid, and as I say, the big shout for me is Alex Gall being on the front row of the grid. Alongside him, Jensen Adriansen. He can show a turn of speed, can Jensen, so don't write him out of a good result here. Jack Belton from Penguin RC Simulation, good to see him on row number 2. Martin de Jong, his teammate started on pole last race. Can Martin get a better result this time around? Yannis Albert and Brian Sohn, another one of those Penguin RC Simulation cars, row number 3. Row 4 for Ben Gregory and Ed May. Ed May will be looking for a good start to his final race, but he's got to watch out behind, because not so much Mark Fletcher, who's one of the nicest guys that you'll meet, but Adam Watson, he's starting in 10th place. Ed May will be just shutting his eyes and hoping for the best in that one. Michael Gray and Jesse Payne-Wilkins, 11th and 12th place. Then Lazar Ryan and Timothy van der Broek on row number 7. Row 8 for Andy Archer and Phil Samways, with Chris van der Ness and Pete Harrod on row number 9. Row 10 for Mark Hutchinson and Lee Berridge. What could have been for him in race number 2. Row 11 for Tom Brown and Jared Caroni, with the 13th row of the grid, James Armstrong. 12th row of the grid, sorry, James Armstrong and Paul Webster. Alex Davidson then is on row number 13. Alongside him is Jack Sedgwick, with Tom Dadswell and Andy Shield on row number 14. 15th row of the grid, your race 1 winner, Josh Thompson, along with Ethan Critchley. Race 2 winner Michael Evdoka starts on the next row, with Matt Woodhouse alongside him, and Adam Hedgecock and Jack Osborne on row number 17. Row 18 for Andy Gilmore and Ross McFarlane. And the final few rows of the grid, Jim Whitehouse and Patrick Faulkner. Jeroen Kaiser, Paul Crawford and Kevin Kittleman right at the very back of the grid. Chevy Silverado leading the drivers around then, Peter. Final race of the evening. Let's hope for a nice clean one this time.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope all the drivers get through that opening phase. It's certainly very risky through that opening phase of the lap, so let's hope they can get through clean. And for Alex Gall, that's exactly what he'll be hoping for, because this is his race to lose. He's one of the fastest drivers in the whole championship. He just needs to get out front and get into a rhythm, and he'll be away.
I mean, he's had misfortune. He had luck in that. Well, he didn't have luck. He had a great strategy in that opening round of the championship at Barcelona. got himself a great, tremendous second place for him and his team, but it's not quite worked out for him the rest of this season, so he'll be hoping for a better result. But don't write out someone like Yannis Albert. 5th place on the grid. He's a good shout in that Brabham Esports BMW. Mark Fletcher and Adam Watson, as I say, sharing the 5th row of the grid between the two teammates. So keep an eye on the 2 Altitude Esports cars. But heading into MG for the start of this final race of the evening. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined us here on the show and watching online here. Pleasure to have your company. There goes the Chevy Silverado on to pit road. Alex Gall now controls the field. We've seen everybody launch off the exit of this corner. He's waited a bit longer. Now he goes. It's right at the exit of the final corner. The green flag will be in the air, and the final race of the evening is underway here in the World GT Championship. Down towards turn number 1, we've got one of the boosted cars. I believe that's Ben Gregory, looking left, looking right. Down through 1 we go. One of the Altitude Esports cars, Mark Fletcher, looking to the outside of 2. It is a possibility for you. If you can hold that line, you can get a good run out the corner. There's a car off in the grass. Oh, don't say that's Mark Fletcher. There's an Altitude Esports car. Oh, it's holding up Jared Carone. He had to get on the brakes. Evo SR car working its way through. Down into Honda for the first time, 3 wide. Oh, there's bumping and barging. There's a Penguin RC simulation car off, and there's more cars off. That's Andy Gilmore. Your own Kaiser's involved in that one yet again. Another one for Kaiser. We'll carry on through Siberia for the first time, and still 2x2 further down your field here, Peter.
Oh, you got to be careful there going through the hay shed. Got to have your wits about you. But a lot of top drivers there in that mid pack with this reverse grid, of course, for race 3. They all just about filtered through. But this is a danger point here as well, coming down into MG over Lookie Heights. Oh, a few drivers running off there as well. It's one of the
Samways.
Full tilt Audi of Samways, just getting it wrong. But luckily, just a single car incident, it seems.
Yeah, fortunately for the field as they go around that final corner for the first time. So Alex Gall leads this one ahead of Jensen Adriansons. Martin de Jong not that far behind either in 3rd place. And there's a little bit of a gap back to Ben Gregory, who's managed to keep in front of Yannis Albert. In fact, he got ahead of Yannis Albert on this opening lap of the race. Adam Watson up 4 places, or is he? Because he is chopping and changing with Ed May on our timing screen. On the left-hand side, the timing tower. Keep up to date with everything going on there as they go through. Into Honda, onto the brakes once again. Now, championship leader in Pro, Ross McFarlane, is up to 29th already. His championship rival, Alex Davidson, he is a little bit further up in 20th place.
Well, I think after the first lap or 2, Ross McFarlane would take that to actually be within 10 places or so of his championship rival, and we'll see how it shakes out over the next critical few laps here as well. There's still plenty to work itself out. That's a class position there, 13th in Pro class at the moment for Ross McFarlane. Can he make a move down here into MG? Nope, the door not open at all. I just noticed actually, Paul, Jack Belton for Penguin Sim Racing. Of course, that's a home race here at Phillip Island. Of course, yep. Phillip Island home to a wonderful population of penguins.
Oh,
Beth Woodhouse off again.
That's got to be a failure. That has to be a failure for him to go straight off. Oh no, it's getting turning back, so maybe a little bit of contact, and it's decided against it as Mark, I think. I don't blame him. He's had an awful season as Mark, and just goes from bad to worse for him, for the Team Mad driver. Well, James Armstrong trying to take advantage of Jared Carone's flash of the headlights from the Evo SR car. So not enjoying the attention that he got there. Out of control. Van der Ness around. So too's Mark Fletcher into the gravel. Van der Ness, he was all over the place. Oh no, it's Hutchinson, sorry. Hutchinson. That's last season's champion in Pro-Am. He's having big drama this season. It's not going all his way.
No, it certainly isn't. As Thompson tries to... I think he got spooked by Thompson, actually. Thompson tried to make a move, but backed out of it, but by then it was too late. Hutchison's thinking, oh goodness me, I can't hit the brakes now because I've got a Porsche in my boot lid. Oh. That could have been total skittles there, but they... Oh, but Van der Ness, Hutchison, he'll be furious.
Well, Mark Fletcher, he had his own incident with James Armstrong as well. I think it was Armstrong seeing what was happening in his mirror and tried to avoid Gregory and Yannis Albert duking it out here. And Albert can see the Altitude Esports Audi right behind him, putting the pressure on. So this is all for 4th, 5th and 6th. As issues for Van der Ness, Lars van Rijn, sorry, down the positions. That's turn 2 that he's had those issues. As we've got another car off, and it's Ben Gregory. Gregory has had an incident. Yannis Albert, there's a big cloud of smoke. I think I can put 2 and 2 together and get 17. I'm guessing Albert and Gregory have got together.
Oh, well, we'll find out in just a moment. I'm sure we'll get another look at it. Great stuff from Jensen Edrinsons. He's not let Alex Gall get away. Still only 7/10 of a second away from them.
No, it's
Adam Watson. Oh.
Well, I mean...
And he came from a long way back there, it has to be said.
Yeah, he did. Adam Watson is...
he's not even in shot here, and all of a sudden... Oh...
What he'll say is, well, I made the apex. The problem is he used Ben Gregory's car to help him get to the apex there.
Yeah.
As side by side, Ed May and Mike Gray trying to duke it out, and Andy Archer's trying to follow Gray through here on Ed May. Ed will want to get a good result here after having a bit of a mare in those opening 2 races. Around the outside, Mike Gray gives him the inside for turn number 2. The southern loop, but look at Gray there, not able to hold that inside, and Ed May around the outside gets a great run.
Yeah, that boosted BMW on rails there. Ed May making full use of that as they come through and get very wisely takes the defensive line. Oh, and then moves out again a little bit and hits Gray on the brakes.
I think it was Lee Berridge. I saw Lee Berridge suddenly set
Thompson's off.
That's Thompson. Josh Thompson. There's the 2 Brabham cars. There's Lee Berridge. Find him. Oh, there's a Penguin RC car. It's Jack Belton.
Oh, what are you doing?
He's belting between 2 cars is what's happening. And we're trying to go around the back of the Marshalls post here on board. So more chaos and drama going on here in this final race of the evening. And Thompson is one of those, and he's taking the tour back to the pits. Josh Thompson, that's the end of his race.
That's a shame. That's you think that Thompson would have wanted more out of that, but Berridge gets a big help there, and then
Thompson gets James Armstrong.
He just gets beaten up there.
It's some strong arms from James Armstrong, and they'll carry on. Then there's Jack Belton, of course, have his issue trying to get back on. Yeah, Thompson, he's had to park the car. Further back, he's another look at what happened to Belton. So he just lost it himself, it looks like. Carried too much speed. And that's McFarlane again! McFarlane getting involved in somebody else's incident, along with several others with that rejoin. My goodness, Jack. I think we need to start up the Connery Maddox School of Rejoins to give some education. And there's Michael Gray sending himself into the Marshalls post.
Dear me. Yeah. Not the finest hour there for several drivers, it must be said. Well, it certainly has been a pinch point at Honda Hairpin, hasn't it? Whoa! What the...
That's carried on. So that's carried on. So he must have had the damage from that incident with the Marshalls post, and yeah, he's taking the tour back to the pit. So that's his done. Oh
no!
Ed May. Yeah, as I say, in Australia it doesn't rain, it pours. Yannis Albert's taking a tour back to pit lane. Well, does anybody actually want to finish this race in this final race of the evening? I can tell you 2 who do. Alex Gall and Jensen Adriansen's, and here's the thing, Adriansen's keeping within a second of Gal.
Amazing.
So Gal's not running away with this one. Oh, dive to the inside. Wow. Can he get the move done, Fletcher? The answer is no. Ed May holds on to the position for the time being. Meanwhile, the Brabham Esports car of James Armstrong working his way through, and he's got Alex Davidson with him. Alex Davidson, it's just working out nicely for him this week.
Oh, it is. Davidson, this is in it with 10 minutes to go. He's got a great opportunity to land a killer blow. Is there going to be a killer blow of his own? Ed May skittles around. And now that tells the story of the day, doesn't it? Davidson missed by millimetres there.
As Ethan Critch. Oh, not the best rejoin. Oh, dearie me. I think we need to. It's gone from bad to worse out there. This final race, I mean, I'm sure the series stewards will be taking a long, hard look at this one. They'll be working well into the evening sorting all of this lot out. But definitely not good.
I think it just shows the mental. As Ed May gets it all wrong and just tries to avoid, and just went wrong all entirely. Just carries way too much speed and doesn't anticipate it. But I think this is a perfect demonstration of the mental concentration required, because yes, we see 3 20-minute races here, but there's the hours of practice just today, and then the qualifying, and then through the actual level of physical mental concentration is so important, and that's where we see so many. We're just seeing a little bit of sloppy mistakes that we wouldn't have seen, or we didn't see in race 1 and race 2.
As we carry on looking at this one then, and there's the 79 working his way through. Martin de Jong, your top AM driver, in third place. Here's a look for Andy Archer. Oh, down the inside. Oh
my word.
Oh, that was the Ed May incident. My goodness, I think a change of underpants is needed there from that on-board shot. My goodness, I'd be sending the laundry bill to Ed May for that one. As still, James Armstrong alongside Alex Davidson. Davidson, he wants to try and gain those positions. He wants to try and take advantage here. The problem is he can't get himself involved in an incident himself here.
No, that's the last thing he wants to do. He's got to stay calm here. He's in a really strong position. I'm sure his spotter will be telling him that McFarlane's in a world of pain. He's in 14th at the moment. And with damage on the car as well, there's the muscle of Alfterback there, just in the slipstream, blows round the outside of Armstrong. That was candy from a baby stuff there. That Merck's got some grunt.
Yeah, that certainly does. Evdoka ahead of his teammate Alex Davidson, then 7th and 8th place for Pure Sims Esports. How you mention it, Ross McFarlane, I mean, still one heck of a recovery drive from him. 22 places gained so far in this one. So he is doing well, but with damage to the front of his car after that incident at the hairpin. Here's Jesse Payne Wilkins. Here's a view through the right hander. Oh! That's that Ed May incident.
My word. That is, it's a scary one, isn't it? Very scary. Well, 7 minutes to go. Alex Gall's just started to eke out an advantage now over Jensen Adriansen. I think we can't stress how good a drive this has been from Jensen Adriansen. If you put him in that position, seen it so many times, if you give him that good grid position, he really delivers, punches well above his Pro-Am class weight, I would say, in those situations. So holding a strong second at the moment. Adam Watson, despite the, should we say, surrounding controversy, he's on course for a podium at the moment. But you'll have to see off Martin de Jong, and Jack Sedgwick might well arrive on the scene as well in 5th.
Yeah, it's going to be quite an intriguing end to this race then, as we mentioned then. So Gal in the lead, 1.5 seconds. You're absolutely right. He's just eked out that gap, and he's using that Porsche, that Maradna Satellite E-Stars car, to its advantage, and getting ahead of Adriansen's. But Adriansen's the top Pro-Am. The next Pro-Am is, I was going to say somebody, but Ben Gregory's had an incident on the exit of turn 2. He was on the grass when we caught the back end of that, and that means he's dropped down the order. Ross McFarlane has just gained another place. He's up to 12th now, so he's really moving forward, is Ross, in this one. As there goes the 107 past his teammate, so the Three Spires Motorsport cars switching places, but Ben Gregory will not like being further down the order in 21st place. But yeah, look at this, the 55, Andy Archer, behind him one of his rivals. This is 2nd and 3rd place in Pro-Am here, 10th and 11th overall in this race. It's BMW versus Audi. Andy Archer's ahead of Paul Webster. Webster wanted some really good results this evening. He's in the Audi. They have got that Audi singing as well. They really enjoy that car right now, to Full Tilt V Motorsport.
Yeah, it's great to see. It's a beast that needs tamed, and that shows a lot about what the organisation they've got there at Full Tilt Motorsport to get on top of that car and get it driving the way they want it to. Really impressive stuff as well. And for McFarlane, this is going to be a really important 5 minutes in the championship. His rival Alex Davison is in 8th, but McFarlane has got 2 Pro-Am drivers ahead of him, Archer and Webster, the 2 drivers on screen right now. So if they start fighting, all of a sudden McFarlane could only be dropping minimal points to Davison and actually getting out of here with not the best night, but definitely damage limited as well. So let's see how hard McFarlane can fight over these next 5 minutes.
As Pete Harrod, should I say? They'll call him Paul Harrod then, I don't know why. Pete Harrod losing the position to Michael Evdoka, your race 2 winner. So Evdoka, I mean, that's a gain of 25 positions for Michael, so really good 3rd race from him. And now Harrod is going to come under pressure from Alex Davidson. It's days like today where you get a bit of luck and you can win championships on the back of rounds like this, as Davidson down the start and finish straight into doing, and nicely done, ahead of Pete Harrod. So Harrod now has got to look behind because he's got James Armstrong coming up behind, but your front 3, they've gapped each other. They're nice and clear. De Jong and Sedgwick as well. There's 3 seconds between those, so I don't think there's going to be anything happening in the last 3.5 minutes here of this World GT race. Here's Mark Fletcher. Fletcher, he's been involved in all sorts, and yet he's only lost 7 places out of all of this. He's racing with Phil Samways in front of him, and in front of them is Jim Whitehouse, the AM driver, doing a sensational job.
Oh yeah, Jim Whitehouse 3rd in class at the moment in that Mercedes, as Fletcher tries to make a move, and that's very tight there from Samways and just backs out of it in time. There's been a lot of really close quarter racing going on here, as Whitehouse just closes off once again. Just as well with I think that's a Sebastian Vettel helmet he's got on there.
I'll tell you what, those 2 cars, both Samways and Whitehouse, both cars are definitely not straight off the forecourt. They have been used and abused, that is for sure, and that's allowing, well, I say it's allowing Mark Fletcher to make some moves, but he's not able to. He's still stuck behind them. These 2 are pushing on as we're getting towards the last 2 minutes of this race. We started with 41 cars. We've only got 31 remaining in this race.
That says a lot, doesn't it? 25% rate of attrition. There's going to be some attrition there. How do you have that heavy a contact at doing corner and keep on the circuit? I don't know. Fletcher, he's trying to go right around the top. Just can't quite get it to work, but might get a run now as they head down towards Stoner Corner, winding on the power, heading towards MG. We've seen a lot of overtaking opportunities tried here, not always successful, as Fletcher nearly hits the back of Whitehouse, but they get through just about. Tight racing here.
It certainly is tight stuff then between these 2. Some nice driving, bit keen, but also want to get themselves results. We've only had 1 driver take a drive-through penalty, which was Gerard Carone. He's down in 29th place now. after that, so he had to take a drive through. Everybody else has not hit that instant limit, which quite frankly astounds me with the way these cars have been driven in this last race. Whitehouse had a little bit of a wiggle on the brakes down into MG. Fletcher just couldn't get the up and under there.
Not quite. He's trying everything, is Smart Fletcher in that 111 altitude BMW. And now we've got a bit of side-to-side action going on here between Armstrong and Harrod. And just in the favour of Harrod, they're holding on to 8th position. Alex Davidson is up to 7th, but his teammate Ross McFarlane up to 11th in that championship battle.
Yes, he's been able to get ahead of Andy Archer as Harrod. Oh, that's a brave one around the outside there for Armstrong.
He's going to make it.
A race winner, and that keeps it. If he keeps his nose there, he's got the inside for Siberia. And this should be the last lap of the race as well, so that's a good move on the last lap of this one, because with only 12 seconds remaining, Alex Gall is just heading into MG. So nearly at the end of his race, end of this lap, and Alex Gall, he's not had a race win all season. It's been a night of race winners who have not won so far this season. Josh Thompson didn't have a race win until tonight. Michael Evdoka didn't have a race win until tonight. And across the line, Alex Gall, another race win. Brand new race winner here this evening. Alex Gall across the line. He takes that checkered flag. Your top Pro-Am though, Yates and Adriansons, he did a great job to keep it within 3 seconds. Top Pro-Am there. And Martin de Jong, 4th place. Another good night for the AM driver.
Very good night indeed there. Davison just gets 6th at the line. And McFarlane, where's he going to finish? So it should come home in 11th place. Yes, he will. And so I would say, Paul, starting from pretty much the back, that's very good damage limitation there from McFarlane.
As we've got more action to the line, not quite, and that's Adam Hedgecock holding on to that place ahead of Chris van der Ness. With the last couple of cars coming across the line to finish this race and to give us your race results on screen momentarily. For Alex Gall, the race winner in race number 3 this evening. The Maradna Satellite E-Stars team, he has done a tremendous job, and he started on pole position. Didn't have everything his own way though. He was put under pressure from Jensen Adriansons, who finished in 2nd place, with Adam Watson rounding out the top 3 in this race. We'll get you your race results and go through the rest of them. So there you go. Top Pro-Am, Jensen Adriansons for Indy Autosport Red finishes 2nd, with Adam Watson for Altitude Esports 3rd. Martin de Jong, Angry Sheep Sims, he's had a bad night, but he gets a good result in the end to finish 4th place in the Top Am in this race. Jack Sedgwick moved up to 5th place ahead of Alex Davidson, with Alex Davidson's teammate Michael Evdoka finishing in 7th place. James Armstrong 8th ahead of Pete Harrod. It's because I saw Paul Webster's name next, which is the 2nd place Pro-Am driver for Full Tilt Motorsport in 10th place. Ross McFarlane ends up in 11th ahead of Andy Archer, with Jesse Payne Wilkins, your next AM driver. 2nd place AM driver, 13th place overall for the Full Tilt Sim Sports driver. Phil Samways, Jim Whitehouse for Century Sim Racing in 16th overall ahead of Mark Cutchinson. Paul Crawford, Ed May and Ben Gregory round out the top 20. Rest of the field then, Brian Sohn with Jeroen Kaiser 21st, 22nd. Jack Osborne and Andy Gilmore in 23rd, 24th. Patrick Faulkner 25th ahead of Adam Hedgecock, who just held on ahead of Chris van der Ness to keep that 26th ahead of van der Ness in 27th. Lars van Rijn 28th ahead of Jared Kroon in 29th, and Lee Berridge in 30th place. Last of your runners, 1 lap down, Mark Woodhouse in 31st, and then here's the long list of retirements: Ethan Critchley, Tom Dadswell, Yannis Olbert, Michael Gray, Josh Thompson, Jack Belton, Tom Brown, Timothy van der Broek, Kevin Kittleman, and then right at the back, Andy Shield. Well, Peter, I think, to be honest, There's only one word to describe that, and that was it was shocking for me. I thought the driving standards were not good at all, in my opinion. But one driver who will be happy is Alex Gall getting the win right at the end.
Yeah, I think Alex did exactly what he needed to do. He had the pace and just built up an advantage nice and carefully. It was a perfect drive, very well deserved indeed. And we've seen him have this pace all season, and yeah, really impressive. Yeah, we did see quite a few incidents, didn't we? And I think it's a bit of a, you got to feel for Josh Thompson as well. I mean, he was kind of a little bit beaten up there. His fastest lap of the race, he scored the fastest lap of the race again. He was half a second quicker than anybody else's best. Now that, at this level in the pro class, that is an enormous advantage, especially on a lap of only 1 minute and 26 seconds. It's Josh Thompson had some mega pace tonight, and you know, a win, a third, and a DNF. Does that justify his pace? I don't think it does. I think he would have hoped for more than that with the pace advantage that he came into the day with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, next week, as I mentioned, we've got a week off, so there's no World GT Championship next week, and it's probably a good job because I think it'll take 2 weeks for the stewards to make all their decisions on tonight. But we'll look forward then. Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, it's the final endurance round of the season, an hour and 45 minutes, 2 mandated pit stops, and Ross McFarlane could seal his first championship with the Enduro Cup.
That he could, yeah. That's a very important one. We know he's Mr. Endurance, Ross McFarlane, and it was an endurance round where it turned around last season. It looked like Luke McEwen was going to take the championship, and we came to Watkins Glen, round 10. Funnily enough, round 10 we're coming up to next, and McFarlane won the race in a strategical masterstroke of tyre management. Very important at Spa, especially over that length of race. So watch out for that. Watch out for that number 1 Mercedes next week. But of course, Alex Davidson, he knows Ross McFarlane's playbook. He's part of the same outfit. He knows exactly how he goes about his business. It's going to be a cracker. Can't wait. Just can't wait.
Do make sure you join us then in 2 weeks' time, October the 24th, here on RaceSpotTV for the final quarter of the championship. It's been Paul Smith and Peter Mackay on commentary, Hugo Luis on production for you tonight. It's been chaos, it's been panic, it's been disorder, but there's been some good race winners here as well. From everybody here at RaceSpotTV, has been the World GT Championship. Goodbye.